everyone, Sarah here. So I thought that we would do a little video about full body alignment because it's really important that for your body to be able to generate force effectively, you need to have all of your parts in the right place. And it always starts from the feet, so right from the foundation. We want to have our feet about hip width apart. And when I say hip width, you're thinking about the bony projections on the front of your pelvis, so what people refer to as your hip bones, and then you want to line your feet up with those. So you're not thinking about the silhouette hips, you're not thinking about the outsides of your hips, it's these little bony projections on either side of your pelvis. And then looking at your feet, you want to have the outside edges of your feet straight. A lot of people will line up the inside edges of their feet, which makes their feet a little bit turned out. It can be really useful if you get something with a straight edge, so like a book or something, and pop it against your foot on either side so that you can see what that looks like, just to give you a little bit of feedback. Once you've got your feet straight, have a little look at what that does to the rest of your leg. So if your feet are really turned out normally and you bring them in quite dramatically, what often happens is that the knees kind of roll in towards each other. So if bringing your feet in that much kind of makes you collapse in a little bit, it's too much too soon. We know that we've got a bit of work to do to be able to get everything in place so that we can have our feet straight. However, just for our alignment, we're going to have the feet straight. The next thing that we want to look at is where we carry the weight of our body. Many people have their weight forwards, and I want you to back it up. Okay. It might be really useful to do this in front of a full length mirror because sometimes how it feels in your body isn't necessarily how it looks from the outside. So I'm going to turn sideways so that you can see, checking that my feet are hip width apart and I've got the outside edges of my feet straight. And then if you have a look at yourself in the mirror, you want to see where your weight is carried. So quite often people have their weight forwards, and a really useful way for you to check if you're not quite sure is to grab something like, I've got a little yoga strap here. You can use anything like a dressing gown belt, anything like that. It's to be used as a plumb line really. So you get yourself in your position and then you kind of have this on your hip and you want to see where your weight is carried, and if your weight is quite far forwards, you can see how far the strap is in front of my foot, and we want to have the weight backed up so that you're not falling back. You don't want to come so far back that you feel like you're falling back all of the time, but you want to be carrying your weight more through your heels, a vertical leg. Yeah, so kind of have a play with that and maybe just rock your weight backwards and forwards a few times and see how that feels. And you should feel that when your weight is really forwards on your toes, you're really pressing your toes into the floor. It's almost like your toes are kind of gripping into the floor. I can really feel that the fronts of my thighs and my quads are kind of really gripping to stop me from falling forwards. Whereas when I back my weight up and I have my hips over my heels, glutes are firing, I can feel that the more of the back line of my body is holding me up, and that's what we want. We want a real strong back line of the body to hold us in really good alignment. So just start to notice when you're out and about, when you're standing in the queue at the supermarket, where do you carry your weight? And if you're forwards, keep trying to back it up. If you're used to being really forwards, again, drastically change your alignment might make you feel like you're going to fall back all the time. So you don't have to do things all at once. You don't have to go from here to all the way back here. It's like an incremental change. You just need to notice, yeah, I am quite forward, and back it up a little bit. And then over time, back it up a little bit more. So don't try and do such a big change all at once. Okay, so we've got our feet parallel, we've got them hip width apart, and we've got our weight backed up through our hips. The next thing I want you to notice is where is your pelvis? So quite often, especially if you are a person that kind of carries their weight forwards all the time, you will want to be tucking your pelvis all the time. And we see that a lot. And especially if you don't have very much of a bottom, this could be one of the reasons why. So we kind of have that tucked bottom, and I'm kind of over dramatising it, you know, you might not look quite like that, but a tucked pelvis. I want you to back your weight up again and allow your pelvis to maybe just tilt forwards and backwards a few times. And it wants to come to rest, probably between those 2 points. So when your pelvis is in a neutral position, your hip bones and your pubic bone are on the same plane. So if you were to put your hands, I've got one hand on my hip bone, one hand on my hip bone, and my fingers are on my pubic bone, I can tell whether my hip bones are forward or my pubic bone's forward. So it's just kind of another bit of feedback for you so that you can check where your pelvis is. So we want to have that pelvis in a really nice neutral position, weight backed up through your heels, pelvis in neutral, and this might feel really strange to you, and again you kind of might feel a little bit off balance. It takes time. I don't expect you to walk around like this all of the time. The next piece that we want to look at then is, where are your ribs? And if you know me and if you've done any work with me, you know that I am rib obsessed, and I will always be talking about where are your ribs, drop your ribs. So your lowest rib, so your bottom rib, should be again on the same plane as your hip bone. And in fact, it should be really difficult to find that bottom rib. It's almost like it's tucked in a little bit. If your rib cage is really prominent and you can easily find your lowest rib and it's poking forwards, then we need to think about dropping the ribs down. So having your ribs down might feel really strange, and again, it's one of those movements that you need to work to gradually. You can't go from having a real rib thrust, a big shear, to dropping it right down quickly, because if you do it too quickly, you can actually hurt yourself, and you need to transition slowly. So again, if you're a big rib thruster, drop it a little bit, drop it a little bit, and eventually over time we'll get it down to where it needs to be. Okay, so we've got our feet in the right position, we've backed our hips up, our pelvis is in a neutral position, and our ribs are relaxed and down. We don't want to be muscling and pulling those down, we want them to relax down. The next thing we're going to think about is our chest, our shoulders. So you've probably heard all the old, you know, shoulders back, chest up. No, that's not what we need to be doing. We want to have our shoulders relaxed and down. Okay. So again, I hear things like, slide your shoulder blades into your back pockets. Well, for a lot of people that will cause tension. It kind of causes them to draw the shoulders back, and you just want them to be relaxed. So I like to think about wide collarbones here. Arms just relaxed down by your sides. Often I will give the cue of having something across the front of here. So imagine that there's like a little bar across here. So it's stopping you from rolling your shoulders forwards, because everything needs to be in a nice straight line here. So we're not allowing the shoulders to roll forwards. And then hands should hang down by your side. So the palms of the hands should face in towards the side of your trousers. And if you're used to wearing your arms here, a little bit Neanderthal-like, shoulders rounded, arms forward, and that's kind of the default position of many people, again, we want to start to think about allowing the shoulders and the chest to open and allowing the hands to come down by the sides. Moving up now. Neck wants to be nice and long. In our society, because we are working on computers all of the time, we're finding more and more this forward head posture, and you've probably heard this forward head posture, and that kind of looks a little bit like head is forwards and then lifted up. Again, I'm probably being a little bit dramatic, and you might not see it quite as extreme as that. However, you actually will do if you look around. So we need to kind of fix this, because what happens here is we're shortening the back of the neck, the weight of the head is pulling and we're rounding and starting to get this kyphosis, or this rounding of the upper back, and obviously that's not something that we want to encourage. So what we need to do is we need to lengthen the back of the neck, and we do that by sliding the chin back. Gives you a lovely double chin, but sliding your chin back, lengthening the back of the neck. So we're saying no creases on the back of the neck. Back of the neck is long, head is ramped. We ramp the head up. Okay, so we've got a nice long neck, no creases on the back of the neck, and your ears should be over your shoulders. So have a look, again, in your full length mirror, where is your head in relation to your shoulders, and can you back it up, back that chin up, lengthen the back of the neck, so we've got a nice long neck. Eyes want to be on the horizon, so we don't want to kind of have the head looking up all of the time, or looking down all the time. We want to be looking straight ahead. And then I always say think about growing tall through the crown of your head so that you're lifted and you're not kind of slumping and collapsing down all the time. So nice and lifted through the body. And it should feel effortless when your weight is evenly stacked and your hips are over your heels, your pelvis is in a neutral position, your ribs are down, your head is where it should be. Your body is designed to hold your weight like that, so it should feel natural and easy. Having said that, it depends what you've been doing with your body for a long time. It might take a little bit of time to get it into optimal alignment, and it might take a little bit of time for it to feel relaxed and easy, but it will do. And it's absolutely worth spending a little bit of time on and working on. So if your body is quite far away from this optimal alignment, like I said earlier on, you need to work towards it. You can't change everything straight away because it's too much and you will hurt yourself. You've got to transition slowly. So if you are a dancer or you've got that real turned out foot position, just start to bring it in slowly, just incrementally, just starting to bring it in slowly. We don't want to be encouraging that rolled in kind of collapsed knee position. Okay, so we're going to work very slowly with that. If you're used to having your weight forwards, every time you remember, check yourself, back it up. Notice, am I tucking my tailbone? Where is my pelvis? Am I tilting it the other way? Again, what's happening? Just starting to communicate with your body and notice the signals that your body is sending you. If you're a big rib thruster, this lower back tends to be quite short and quite tight. Allowing those ribs to relax down allows this lower back to open out. So if you suffer with back pain, especially in the lower back, have a check-in with your ribs and notice, where do I wear my ribs? Yeah. And if you've noticed that kind of rounded posture, head forwards, start to think about backing everything up. We want to encourage length through the whole body, and we don't want to be allowing everything to shorten and collapse. This is what causes wear and tear on our body. Outsourcing the work of one structure to another structure that isn't necessarily designed to do that job, and it wears down more quickly. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to help. If I've not explained something clear enough and you want a little bit more clarity, then let me know. Because if you're not quite sure, chances are somebody else isn't either, and I want to make sure that this is as clear as possible for you so that you can get the most benefit out of that. But thank you for taking the time to have a look at this video, and let's see if we can make some real changes to your body. Thank you.